All right, dude.
Cool.
Shawn, what up?
Yeah, bro. Thanks for having me on,
Dude,
Paul.
thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate you being here, bro.
For sure.
I guess to start with the reason why I wanted to get you on here is because like your shit's so neon, bro. Like
Thanks, bro.
I see you at the gym, and I see you around town. I meet you at little get-togethers here.
Thanks, bro.
And you're
That's
just
flattering.
flattering.
Yeah.
You know, you're just always like just so transparent and just bold, and
Yeah.
and you take a look at you and you're like, yo, this is a mean dude.
Yeah,
And then
right.
you
Intense.
you take a minute to talk, and it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, man, like it ain't the case at all.
Yeah, I came out of an environment in Sacramento where I had great parents, but I was surrounded by a lot of intensity, and I seen a lot early in life. And I kind of took that, and earlier in my life, I used it the wrong way. Like I was based more negative with that intensity, and like my mindset wasn't there. I didn't have control of like my thoughts and my choices, really. And this went on well, almost, into my 20s, pretty close.
Yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 37 now. Well, I'll be 37 in October. I'm
There you
36 right now. Yeah. And I've taken control of my choices, and I think that's what's made me more vibrant, because instead of directing my energy towards things that would be negative and maybe hold me back, I have confidence now because I'm in control of my choices when once I wasn't.
Yeah.
And that gives you like that constant feeling of joy when you know you're in control. And that's kind of where I try to stay and live. And I try to set an example. I try to let people see it. And then I want to help everybody I can. I'm a lot like you. You're the same way. You're in the sauna and you're trying to dig at people.
Yeah.
And you're trying to see what's in them, and sometimes, and you don't know the response, but you still, inside of you, you want to help. And that's all that matters to you.
Yeah, I think
You
it's
know what
just in my nature. Just
Yeah.
like I don't know how to have like a conversation that's not really in depth. Like small talk
Right.
to me is just like I don't want to even.
It's
waste
natural
my
to you to find out what's really going on with
Yeah.
somebody, or to have a deep conversation about something that's not directly towards them, but involved with something like that, because that's what brings up those things.
Yeah, and the sauna is interesting because it's like you're super uncomfortable, so it's like kind of hard to be
Yeah.
anything but real
Yeah.
because you're already just
Well,
like fuck, I'm dying in here.
Right, you're dying together too.
Yeah, yeah,
And you're,
exactly.
like teamwork there with that, and it's like, yeah, dude, you're uncomfortable, but you're in there trying to be comfortable with each other.
Yeah.
So you're talking in ways that's almost soothing in a way.
And it's interesting because you'll be like in a deep conversation, but you're like 15 minutes in at like 170 degrees, and you're
Yeah.
like, yo, I got to tap.
You go over your time.
Yeah, but this shit's so good, I
Yeah,
don't want to leave,
right,
right.
right.
And I'm just like,
Or it's the opposite sometimes. So you're like, it's like a meaningless conversation because the person maybe just doesn't want to go to those points. You bring something up. People may not agree with it, so they keep it lighter.
yeah,
It's much harder to do your time in the sauna.
yeah,
When things aren't as like you're not feeling things as much when you're speaking with people, but it brings it out of people in there.
It
Even people
does.
that don't naturally do it because
Yeah.
of that feeling of near death almost.
And they some people kind of sit on the sidelines and listen, to
Oh
like
yeah,
the two
yeah.
dudes chopping
But they're
it up.
downloading, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah,
that's what's
yeah.
amazing about the sauna too, is you don't always have to talk.
Yeah.
You can sit in there and learn a lot, or not, or just sit there and be like, oh wow, maybe not do this or not do that.
Where people watch, there's some
People watch
weirdos
those, bro.
around
Yeah,
our
yeah,
town.
always,
You're
bro.
like, "Whoa, what's up?" So what kind of shit were you getting into in your younger years?
I had a great group of friends, but where we grew up at, we were just surrounded by bad influence. We were in like more of a poverty area of North Sacramento, right outside of Del Paso Heights, right across the bridge. It wasn't Rio Linda, but it wasn't Del Paso Heights.
Yeah.
It was this area, it's called Robla District. It's right there. And it was just the chances to get in trouble and do bad shit was abundant. And that's where not being in control of your choices is, and that shit's everywhere in your life, even still till this day as an adult. But back then when you're a kid and it's just everywhere, you're on your bicycle or whatever, maybe you're in a stolen car, the things keep coming your way, because you're not controlling your fucking choices of not doing things like
plus
that.
when you're a kid, it's fun.
Yeah, you don't understand consequences of like your future being destroyed. That's how the system works, and like you don't get that. But I got lucky and I understood that very quickly from being in that environment. It didn't happen to me. Unfortunately, fortunately it didn't happen to me, but unfortunately it did happen to some of my friends and a lot of my family members. So I seen that like from from 5 years old, I was aware of somebody who was just come out of prison or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I knew that wasn't a place where I wanted to be because I was in the woods. I wanted to grow up in nature. I enjoyed myself from a very young age because I was always in nature. Like I always
even
was,
living in the city.
Yeah. But it's like I would when I was in nature, it was like the right place for me to be.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't like all those choices to be like distractions and your friends pulling you this way and maybe some weed pulling you that way or a money move pulling you that way, you know. And that's why I think it's important for people to get in nature and clear their minds and find a way back to, if you're struggling with addiction and controlling your choices and people are able to manipulate you, you need to just find yourself again to where you can control those choices and make those moves to where you say no to people, because that's what change. It's simple as that to change your life.
Yeah, man.
It really is. But you need solitude to be able to find that.
Sometimes the simple decisions are like really the hardest ones to make, because, you know, when you're doing street stuff, you know, like easy money grabs are like always around the corner and they're 100%. In abundance, you know, but the consequences sometimes for doing that dope deal or doing that gun run or whatever, it's like you could make a quick 30 bands.
Yep.
You know, but you can also land yourself in prison for a really long ass time.
Yeah, or end up dead, or you know what I mean. And it's like, it all comes down, like you said, we take a simple thing, and it's really so complicated on the other end if it doesn't go the way we think it's going to go. Yeah, you know what I mean. That's where not making that choice comes into play, like weighing out the consequences of what you're doing versus what you believe and what your true values are. Versus like, is it worth throwing my life away in prison for this? Yeah. What are my true values? What am I fighting for? That's how you weigh things out in life with your choices. Yeah. You know what I mean? Give them some balance to why you're doing it. Is it worth it? What could happen? Like, think about those things and then make your choice, you know? Don't just go flying into things with no plan or, you know. When you're a kid, that's the way you roll. That's all you're doing. Dude, you wake up and you don't even know what you're doing, you know? Like, I was in homeschooling, too, from an early age because I got in trouble in public school for fighting and bringing a paintball gun to school. I had a felony at 16 for a paintball gun, bro, because it happened right after Columbine. Yeah. I had a paintball gun. Mind you, I wasn't shooting it. I didn't have, you know, no paintballs even on me. It was just a gun. Yeah. And it was in my backpack, bro, and I was walking home from school. And I pulled it out a little bit to show a friend and put it back in. And I can imagine what that might have looked like, you know. But the system didn't care what actually had happened, about my life pretty much. Yeah. Well, they gave me a felony at 16.
Were you in SAC? You went to high school?
Yeah, I was in SAC. I went to high school at Relinda. Until about middle of sophomore year.
Was there a lot of gunplay going on?
Every day. There was kids at school every day with guns. Yeah. It was like to the point where fist fights weren't happening no more. It was drive-by shootings and people running out of their house, kids running out or out of the school grounds retaliating with pistols.
Yeah, know? We were talking about that yesterday. Yeah. You know, my boy went to school in San Bernardino. I went to school in Orange County, and it was like, you knew. Oh yeah, I can imagine what it was like down there. It probably happened even at a younger age down there. Yeah, for sure. You know, I was a group home kid. You know, and I was in group homes with kids from like, you know, Orange County gangs, like the Latino gangs that are like 15 years old, like fully blasted. Yeah, you know.
Yeah. They've been that way since they're not blasted since birth, but gang members since birth. That's literally.
Yeah. I knew one kid who his earliest childhood memories, his dad was in like a well-known gang in like South Central LA, and he was like 7, 8 years old. His dad would get rid of bodies. Wow. Would chop bodies up in an apartment complex and send the kid out to take the trash out with chopped up bodies. As like a young kid,
and he knew
he's doing life in prison for killing a cop.
That's wild.
You know what I mean?
A cop,
yeah. So like,
they commit to that lifestyle though. I know some people like that to where it's almost a badge of honor, bro. It's like we don't understand it, but they know almost from being at a child's age that they're gonna end up in prison or dead.
Well, dude, and the families, they don't give a fuck. You know, like one kid I was working with, he was in another Latino gang, and we were trying to get him to enlist in the military. Right. And his uncles are like, no, this is blood in, blood out. Yeah. If he's out, like, he's dead. Like, his own family didn't give a fuck. Like, they would kill their nephew just for the honor
There's that code there, bro, for sure. And what's crazy about the military is there's a lot of gang affiliation in the military now because of that same connection that they have with each other, that brotherhood.
Oh, and law enforcement too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. Law enforcement's been for a while. I'm not sure how long. I'm sure military's probably been a while too. There's probably always been gangs in there.
Did you serve?
No, I didn't. I just know people that have, and just, you know, general knowledge of learning things. But it's wild how deep and rooted. It's no different than religion.
Yeah,
that's how deep and rooted it is in people, and you're being brainwashed, and you're not thinking for yourself.
And then also like there is that sense of family to it. I know 100%. A young kid that grew up with, he didn't know his dad. His dad didn't want to know him. His mom was tweaked out. His grandma raised him. His great grandmother was like his grandma. Everybody died. And he's like patching up with the Mongols right now. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yo, what are you doing, bro? Like, this ain't the move. Like I've helped raise you up since you were 14 years old. Now you're a young man and you're trying to patch up with this gang. Yeah. And he's like, yo, man, like nobody's here for me.
Yeah.
These fools are here for me. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, it might seem like that now, but when shit gets real, see who's there for you.
Right. When you're the front man that goes to prison for carrying the sack or whatever it may be, I mean, we all know what that leads to.
Or you got to earn your stripes.
Earn your stripes. Right. And it's like, that's where I was saying about weighing out those balances. Is it worth you having to, maybe murder somebody to be in this biker gang, or because you are in this biker gang, now you're going to do life in prison? Is it worth it to, is that, you got to be your own person. That's so important in this life now.
Yeah. Yeah, and these youngsters just can't see this far in front of their face.
You have to learn how to be alone and find joy while you're alone. That's so important. If you can't sit with yourself, bro, that's why you feel so wanted to go attached to a gang. Is because when you're sitting by yourself, you're just antsy and you can't figure it out. I mean, it's because you're not treating yourself the way you should be. You know what I mean? Like, you have all this feeling inside of you. It's like some people call it anxiety or, depression and all this stuff. And it's truly there. Like, it's a real thing, but it's energy that's not being utilized correctly. And that's your body. Your intelligence is turned against you, bro. That's what it is. It's an intelligence. It's an intellect that's turned against you, but it's very powerful. That's what depression is, in my opinion. Yeah. It's that all that good energy you could be expending going the other way turned against you, and you can't fight back, and it's really powerful and really smart.
Yeah, it's like a hamster
wheel. But it's still intelligence. Depression is intelligence. That's what people don't understand. They get all down on themselves, and they want to beat themselves up more because a doctor's telling them this or that. Your mindset's not going in the right direction. That's energy being used against you by yourself. You got to redirect it, and you have to become obsessed with redirecting it. If you're depressed or you have these problems, you have to pack your toolbox full of tools and constantly go to it. Dude. And pull them out. And every time you have a problem or a trigger, pull that tool out. You know what I mean? And know that they're there. But you got to build those tools. You got to put them in that box.
And the more you grow and evolve, the more you're going to feel alone. You know what I mean? Like when you start evolving,
that's a natural process. Yeah. And then they say it in every type of music. They say that. There's some sort of line that says when you elevate, you're going to end up more alone, and you just the process gets different for you.
Yeah.
The process, being uncomfortable should feel natural if you're progressing, bro. That's what I tell people. You shouldn't I don't want you to feel content and comfortable with I'm sitting here where, I've been living here and I'm okay with this and I'm okay with my job. That's fine, but you better go excel really heavy at something else. Or you're going to become depressed. You're complacent, and then everything else starts to pile up on that, bro.
Yeah.
I don't care who you are. You don't want to just sit around and not expend everything you feel like that's in you. And everyone feels like they should be a superstar, really. Yeah. They just give up on that fact. When you're a kid, bro, you're everything's big time wrestling, and you're full of this energy. That's how you should be as an adult going out, but more in a mature way, going after your goals.
You know what kids want to be now?
Yeah, who knows?
Famous. The number one answer for asking kids what they want to be, they want to be famous.
But look, because we're cyborgs, we're attached to these phones, bro. Everybody's heart, it's that's what makes you, that's your value now, is on these phones instead of what you're doing for the people that are around you.
Yeah.
Your close family. What have you done for your brother that's struggling? Mm-hmm. What have you done for your sister? Or what have you done for yourself?
Yeah.
What are you doing for yourself?
Yeah.
People, everybody, it's good to entertain and all that stuff, but it's I feel like the more people get more into the social media and entertainment things, and kids being distracted by that, they're getting more away from core values and what's just natural, dude.
Yeah.
Our centeredness about we're supposed to have our tribes and know we have these people here for us, and build those circles like what we're building here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm here. I look at I started everyone's telling me you should get a podcast going, after guesting on a few. They're like, dude, you're well spoken, you got a story, you got a message and passion. and I started doing some digging on like what's hitting, what's popping for content. And like the number one podcasts on YouTube are straight vile, bro. Like there's one on there in particular that's just like straight up a podcast promoting human trafficking. Like the guy who like the dude who hosts it is a pimp.
Right.
And he's got like OnlyFans girls on there, and then like these internet pimps and all this shit. And it's getting like 5+ million views per fucking video. Yeah. And these are who our kids are looking up to. Right. You know, I want to wage a war on that shit.
Right. Dude. I agree with that. But I hope a lot of those views are people just being like, what the fuck? I just try to have hope in humanity that people really aren't getting their knowledge and like their entertainment from fucking areas like that. Because I think a lot of the internet is trickery, and especially comments and algorithms. And the comments aren't even the same. Like if you look at a video and I look at a video or a reel, the comments will be different on each of our phones depending on the algorithm that they have.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? So I think a lot of it is maybe directed to make us more demeaned in our society and make us feel lower about shit. Like maybe people really aren't watching that as much as they're trying to make it seem here in this country. Yeah. You know, so it does give us that, but it's like, I think that's why it's not good to be on there a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Stay out of the comments.
Dude, try to stay natural. That's what most people are losing grip on reality because of technology and cell phones and the constant access. People wake up, roll over, and look at their phones.
Yeah. We're addicted to dopamine.
You wake up and you go right to something that's going to make you feel empty. Right when you wake up.
Or maybe not even empty. Like it could, like depending on what you look at, it could put you in a bad mood. You know 100%. What I mean? It could throw you in a full-on drift. Like you scroll the news and you're like, fuck, man, holy shit. Right. That's first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what they want to throw in your face.
Yeah.
And that's almost the system's program to make sure when you go through any type of Google News or whatever you may have on your phone, the headlines are something almost startling almost every time.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a bunch of bullshit. The headlines are always fake.
Even with the weather.
Yeah.
Like, heat wave. It's dangerous. And you're like, what the fuck? It's not differerent than yesterday.
Let's talk about them spraying the skies everywhere. How about we talk about that?
No, we can't do that. Dude. You know what I mean? That's not real. So was there a time in your life where you're like, yo, something's got to give. I got to make a shift, you know?
100%, dude. 100%. So I was 23 years old and I started working at Sutter Hospital, like at all of them in Sacramento. My mom had helped me get the job. She been a nurse there for years. And I was on as security, but my job was psych patient security and overwatch and care. You know, I'd give them their food, and if they had to go to the bathroom, I'd help them. If they needed help out of the bed, you know, I would do things like that. I did a lot of that. That really brought a lot of knowledge and like understanding of suffering into my life, because I was every day working with psych patients, and you didn't know if it was going to be someone that was coming depressed and they were having thoughts of suicide, or if someone had multiple personalities and were bipolar and they're going through a full-on episode and maybe they smoked some meth.
Yeah.
You know, we dealt with that from emergency room level all the way to psychiatric center level. I dealt with that stuff, and that really led me into knowledge with books and like reading books because that type of job put a lot of weight on me.
Yeah, for sure.
I absorbed a lot of that energy. And it changed me as a person.
For sure.
The respect I have and love for humans that want to help other people grew immensely, you know? Because I seen what a lot of those nurses and doctors had to go through just to work in a place like that. And it wasn't what people think. Being a nurse there is it's like being a nurse in a war zone. I would compare it to that. Being a nurse in a psychiatric facility. It's very dangerous.
Oh, for sure.
You know, and it's very stressful on your system. Like your nervous system feels it every night. You don't forget about it. It's like, you know, any other really stressful job. So I had to go to doing work to relieve all this pain I was feeling, because it was keeping me up at night. It was doing all these things to me. You know, it was stressing me out. It was literally making me feel like I could lose my mind.
Yeah.
You know,
dude, and you can.
100%.
Real quick. You know, I know. You know, I work with like people with like severe PTSD and
right, I know this.
Traumas.
We've talked about this in the sauna.
And you know, a lot of the people who I've been working with lately are in the mental health. Like they're either therapists or they're doing some sort of medicine work. And like, man, the stuff that they're just exposed to on the daily, dude, like it can shift your mind.
It can be traumatizing.
Yeah.
You know,
and if you don't have a release, like.
Yeah, and they don't get enough help for training on release. Like we get a lot of training on managing abusive behavior from them, but we don't get any training on managing the abusive behavior we take home with ourselves. they don't teach us any of that with those jobs. And that's something that should be a part of a job like that, is teaching people how to decompress. It shouldn't be on their paycheck. They have to go to therapy because their job is so goddamn stressful.
Yeah.
It should be taught to them like they teach us how to talk people down in the hospital. They need to teach those staff members and whoever's working there, anybody that has any content, you absorb that energy, and those facilities are so full of it. Like you walk in there, you feel it, dude. It's not like a place where you're gonna not notice a shift in reality.
I was a patient, I guess you would call it, at a mental hospital when I was a kid, and it was bad. Like it was like I remember vividly, like if you refuse medication, they'd shoot you with Thorazine and strap you to a bed.
Yeah. If they have to, they'll strap you to the bed first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's terrible. I was close to going to a mental hospital when I was younger too. I was just having compulsive thoughts. Like I was saying, I was not in control of my thoughts, and I started to realize how bad they were getting, and it scared me, dude. Like it really scared me how deep the thoughts were getting, and almost how they were convincing me to be that way. And I knew it wasn't right, but at the same time, it was like I was having a hard time focusing on even controlling them. It's like I'd wake up and think about being negative or doing something bad. Like immediately, it was my thought process. It was just thrown off, and that led into depression because I was scared that I was like gonna become a loser and all this stuff. Like I started creating false realities, like a lot of people do, which we need to stay in the current, present moment. I can't stress that enough. As far as progressing in life, you have to stay here and now. Don't live in the past and don't think about what can happen in the future. Every day is here now. Take advantage of that shit and do the core value things. Work out, eat right, like talk to yourself nice. You know what I mean? Yeah. Stick to the simple shit. It's simple. You don't got to do all this crazy stuff. And there's
read. Nobody reads anymore.
Yeah, read, dude. Like, clear your mind with a book. A book. Find something crazy that you like, a book that's 100 years old that you can't help but read a little bit. Yeah, because it's 100 years old.
It's a conversation with a dead person.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, or maybe who knows what that book could lead to. Like books changed my life. The Art of Happiness changed my life. And
who wrote that?
I'm not sure who wrote it, but it was it was the Dalai Lama speaking.
Jamie, who wrote The Art of Happiness?
It was the Dalai Lama speaking, and the person was writing it. Is from what I got out of it. It wasn't an actual author writing it. It was just him narrating his translation of it. And it changed my life, dude. I read that while I was working at those psychiatric centers. When I had time, I would read that book at work, and it changed my life because I realized outside of it helping me then and now, like I realized the bigger picture of my life wasn't about like committing to this career and becoming this super successful person and and all this stuff. It was about enjoyment and enlightenment and letting go. It wasn't about holding on to this shit that everyone in those hospitals were harboring and holding on to. It was about letting go of everything and being responsible, but at the same time realizing it's like you're here to experience blissfulness, and that there's nothing more to that. Like pain and suffering are natural. That shit's gonna come. You're gonna have to fight that with being able to sit here by yourself and find moments of joy. Like you feel joyful for no reason. That should be the goal in life. There's nothing past that. There's nothing past that, bro.
Yeah, I was listening to an interview with the dude, and he was talking about like how somebody would reach him. He's not going to get reached by like a therapist who, studied Carl Jung for 5 years at Harvard. That he wants someone who's been through it, but also somebody who has a genuine laugh.
Bro.
And the genuine laugh part was like, man, that struck a nerve with me because like how many people are out there trying to lead fools and they're not even happy with themselves at all.
They lost all the kid in them. The kid's gone. Their heaven has collapsed. They're so focused on like their goal in life and maybe their career or whatever it may be. You got to keep this like this heaven open in your mind that this is your creation. Like you are, like Amos was saying earlier, you're God. Like who's to say we're not here in heaven right now? And a lot of people are just fucking it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people have said that a lot. And I started to look at life that way. What if we are in heaven and we keep doing this over and over?
We're just wasting
it. And a lot of people are just fucking it up over and over.
Yeah.
Instead of realizing, oh my God, I can feel happy for no reason right now.
Just laugh.
I feel good because about what I've been doing in my life and doing the work and speaking with the right people, and figuring out.
Even if what you're doing ain't sexy, it's just like grinding.
Not at all. If it's a crazy abstract art or whatever it may be, or if it's someone no one even understands it, you know what I mean? It's like, I like to be different, bro. I feel like a lot of my driving force is to be different. I want to be uncommon. I don't want to I want to fit in with people that are badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
people that are killing it and crushing it. But I still want to be uncommon. I still want to be me.
Yeah.
And it's important to learn those knowledge from those people, but just delve into things yourself too. Like, don't always feel like you have to learn from somebody. Go into researching things yourself and try it. Like maybe it's workout or nutrition, or don't listen to a narrative. Do it yourself. Try it.
Create your own.
That's the part of the process of life that brings that joy, when you figure it out and you go, oh damn, this worked way better. I've been doing this for years, and then look at this. Once you start getting those feelings and that becomes your natural feeling instead of the feeling of being let down or left behind or abandoned, bro. And it's like I said, it's just shifting. It's the paradigm shift, bro, where you just got to flip it around. Because I've been in that spot where it was just like I felt hopeless, almost in a mental hospital. No reason to. I had great parents, but I chose crazy friends, and a lot of my family I had like 25 first cousins that were all like 10 years or older than me, because my dad had me late, and his brothers and sisters had kids young. So I had my influence for kids that were like 10 years older than me my whole life. Yeah. So you can imagine they're 15. I'm already 5 years old. And they're standing there smoking weed. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm only 5, but they didn't like try to pass it to me or nothing. But I was around
there.
This shit.
Yeah.
And then by the time I'm 10, I'm seeing people smoking meth that were smoking weed before me. But it's not because of the weed. It's because of the stress and the way the choices they made in their life.
It just evolves.
Right. I've been smoking weed for fucking like 17 years straight now. I would never. You can ask any of my friends. None of them ever seen me do coke, do anything like that. And it's not a brag.
Have you ever
never
dabbled with any of that shit?
Never, bro.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
awesome.
I've done some Molly and I've done some mushrooms, but I've never sniffed coke. I've never done meth. And I don't wear that like a badge of honor, because I love to help people that are struggling with that. My best friend's struggling with it right now. Yeah. He's a grown man. He's 45 years old and he's been in and out of this his whole life. And a lot of my family's that way. I have uncles that are 60 that are still dabbling in it. Yeah, but I love them to death. You know what I mean? I would never change the way I view them because of their choices, that as long as they don't affect the people around them, that's fine. I don't like you killing yourself fast, but I respect you and I love you, and I'm not going to make your time here with me miserable, because I love you.
Yeah,
even if you're making bad choices for yourself. Yeah. And that's how I am with everybody. If I got friends that don't like each other, I'm going to hang out with both you guys and love both you guys. And if one of you chooses that you don't like that, that's fine with me. No problems. But if this guy still love me, I'm still going to go hang out with him. Yeah. No, that's how simple life should be for people. Because that's how important it is. Yeah, unconditional, straight up. There's no decisiveness like, oh, I'm picking this side because of this. Unless it happened to you personally, you should never do that, in my opinion. But everyone's different, and I've learned that through growth. I used to do things like that too, 100%. I'm guilty of it. Yeah.
And probably maybe sometimes catch yourself still being that way.
But I go to those tools that I was talking about, and I bring that wrench out, and I go, dude, don't start being insecure right now, you weirdo. You know what I mean? Like you're a spirit on this earth in a vessel to experience enjoyment. You're going to experience enjoyment if you choose it, and you're going to experience pain and suffering if you choose it. And that's all it breaks down to, is your choices in your mind, bro. It's where it all starts at. It's like we complicate everything when it doesn't need to be complicated. And it's because we have such a strong memory and we have such a big imagination. And if your memory is full of pain and you have a big imagination, you're going to think back to your history and conjure all this shit up and create this movie in the future.
Dude, I'm that way. Real. It's part of trauma. Like I've been working on it. Like, dude, if my wife is 1 minute late, with the kids, she's wrapped up around a tree dead, and my family's
because
gone.
Your history, and you have a big imagination, you're a cretive guy, and you're focused, but your history has taught you to worry and to be like, oh fuck, in my past when this had happened, someone got hurt or someone got robbed or whatever.
You just always expect the worst.
You expect the worst, so you create this pattern, and your body actually gets a kick out of that pattern. Your physical body likes it because your adrenal glands kick on. The endorphins in your brain, those fear endorphins will kick in, and your body itself gets tingly, maybe get hot. Yeah. Physically, you like it, so it becomes a pattern quickly.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm just kind of getting the hang. Like I've had like adrenaline dumps, dude. Like out of nowhere, like just a thought can make me have like a crazy adrenaline dump. Like I just got into like a full-on fist fight. And then I crash afterwards. Like I'm just like so slumped tired.
I've been there, brother.
And you're like, whoa. Like,
you have to create a void and a space between your thoughts. Don't give them that much energy, bro. Yeah. They're just thoughts.
Yeah, I know it.
We all have crazy thoughts, bro. Every one of us, we have to not give them the energy because it's just a thought. They come and they go. that we don't even know where they come from. They don't know shit about that, bro. So don't take it so seriously.
Yeah.
And that's what does it, is that emotional trigger will get the body going, and the body loves that. The body loves that feeling of skydiving or fear or whatever, but our mind struggles with it because we're about survival and we're about all this other stuff, so it becomes addicting, like a drug. It is a drug. Your body's a crazy chemical making factory, bro, full of crazy chemicals and drugs. And there's DMT in you when you're born at birth. There's adrenaline is the number one drug for us, When you set your adrenal glands off, you're telling your mind that your mind just goes right into a mode of loving that. I don't know what does it, but it does it for me too.
It's dopamine.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, I don't know, but adrenaline for me is addictive.
Same here.
You know what I mean? And that's why you have to really make sure, because I know exactly what you're talking about. Dude. The simplest, little, stupidest thought, and you're curious about it, and the next thing you know, you're just dumping adrenaline, and you're flushed, and you're kind of nervous maybe, and you're like, what the fuck?
But then in like the most fucked up situations, like a motocross race, like I'm cool as a cucumber.
You hold it together like nothing.
Yeah, or like someone's pulling guns, and I'm just like,
but
yo,
see
what up,
that
another
is?
day. But then my thoughts are the ones that really twist me.
What that is just dispersing later, and you're not getting rid of it. That's what I used to, when I come home from the hospital or something, or doing something stressful. I don't know about you, but I'd be sleeping, dude, and just come out of a straight sleep and jolt and like wake up like full of energy and electricity, sweating, and like it was all this pent up energy I took home from the hospital that was in me that I didn't deal with before bed. I didn't read, I didn't stretch, I didn't watch something, maybe listen to something positive, do all these proactive things, and use these also physical tools that are available to us are huge. The simple things, It's simple. It's 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there.
It's breathing.
It's breathing correctly.
Breathing, imagine that.
It's being aware of your
just
posture,
breathing.
All that kind of stuff. And going to the gym when you can go to the gym, or work out for 20 minutes at home if you can. All you need is a set of bands.
Yeah.
It's all you need. Or a pull-up bar,
or a flat
floor.
ground,
Yeah, right,
floor,
exactly.
Like,
there's no excuse.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I learned so much about stuck energy having kids, man, watching my son like not get his way or something doesn't go right, and he just fucking goes bananas, and he loses it.
Right.
And you're just like, oh my God, like you're losing it, kid. What's going on? But then 5 minutes later, he's just happy as can be. Nothing's bothering him.
He just got that out of him.
Yeah, he got it out. It's done. But us as adults, we have a moment, and it might not be appropriate for us to like let that frustration out at work or in traffic or in the grocery store.
Right.
And we suck it up.
Right.
And then we forget about it.
Right.
And that energy is stuck. And then you compile it with, thing after thing.
Exactly, dude. It's because we're not sticking to the simple basics of fucking what it takes to be good at life.
Just let it out.
And get it out, dude.
Yeah.
Make it priority to treat yourself right. Treat yourself like you would treat somebody that you're madly in love with.
Oh, yeah.
Don't treat yourself like a stepchild that you don't like and you wish you didn't have to deal with, or whatever the fuck it may be. You know what I mean? Like, treat yourself like someone you're madly in love with, because you should be. You should treat yourself. You get to, you get to do this one time, and when you're laying on your deathbed, I've talked to people that were dying and they died that day. Your life seems so short no matter how long you live.
They're not thinking about their cars and all the fun.
And it's
gonna.
And you know another thing they always told me? Life is hard whether you're good at it or whether you're fucking bad at it.
Yeah.
So pick one. They're both fucking hard. So do you want to be good at life, or do you want to suck at life and still go through the same trauma and the same bullshit and just reap way less rewards, way less enjoyment, and way less experience?
Yeah. Either way, you're struggling.
You're going to be fucking struggling the whole time. But it's finding those moments of joy and blissfulness and not giving those struggles too much energy. It's not a big deal. You're not going to land on jagged rocks and die. There's someone going to be there with a parachute or to catch you most of the time. If you're a good person and you're in the right place and you have the right vibrations and you've done enough work, it'll happen. It will happen. The universe will provide something for you to grab onto.
Always does, man. It's like you just continue to shine and be a good person, and doors open.
Even at your worst moments, that's when it's most important, is to continue to shine. I went to jail recently. And when I went to jail, I didn't sit there and get bummed out and start feeling bad for myself and shit, like poor me. I just, blah, blah, blah. No, dude, I sat in cell for like 16 hours. I went out and noticed they had pull-up bars in the tier. And I was like, hey, can I jump on those? And they said, go for it. I started working out, and within 5 minutes, I had 3 dudes come up to me and ask me about a routine and if we could work out. And I was telling them, probably not going to be in here long, not knowing. Yeah. And it just raised the vibration of the tier immediately for me. Just no one was working out. Nobody. Yeah. Within 5 minutes, 4 people got up off their chairs, that maybe be sitting in a cell all wound up and anxious and started working out.
Feeling sorry for themselves.
You know, because I didn't allow myself to do that. I don't ever go there no more. I don't care what happens to me. I don't. I will never allow myself to feel sorry for myself ever again, because I realized that was a big detrimental for myself. And I could have reasons like anybody else, but it does me no good.
Was that an awakening for you, like getting
a
close call, you know?
Yeah, when I went in, and I realized like it was cool, honestly, for me on a level, because it proved to me that I wasn't a fucking phony. Like, I went in there and I was prepared, dude. Like, I was ready to just do whatever I had to do and work out and stick to my game plan. And I was in there fasting still, bro. I didn't break fast. I didn't literally. I stuck to fucking game plan.
Not hard in jail. Fucking food's trash.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. But honestly, dude, in Nevada, bro, they're getting pizza and shit ordered in there.
Oh my God.
No joke.
Yeah.
I'm not. And if you want, you can get a tablet and order food from outside. It costs more money, and it's ridiculous, bro.
My little brother wouldn't talk to me for like 4 years because I wouldn't buy him a PlayStation. He had to do 5 years in prison.
Oh my God.
And he wanted a PlayStation, and I was like, sorry, dog, dude. I'm not fucking buying you. I'll buy you books. I'll get you books, dude.
That's a good, man.
You know what I mean?
I don't need you on their first-person shooter.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, like playing Fortnite. Dude, come on, you know?
Yeah, that's funny.
We don't have to get into it, what you got popped for, but...
Oh, it's all good, bro. I mean, it's whatever. I was trafficking, just driving some weed and got popped right on the other side of Nevada.
Like an ounce of weed?
No, it wasn't an ounce. It was a little more than an ounce, but I got charged with an ounce. It was 162 pounds, but,
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Through the process of my lawyer and things at the police, things like that. I think, prosecutors not being too hard on marijuana no more. They had just dropped it to schedule, I think, class 3 on the Fed list and things like that. So they definitely worked with me a lot. I'm on probation, things like that, but it's like, I'm not on ankle monitor or like peeing or nothing.
You can still vote.
It's informal probation. Yeah, I lost no rights. I got a misdemeanor out of the whole thing.
Dude, that's wild.
You know what I mean? Yeah. My lawyer was great. The prosecutor was cool, honestly. He wasn't trying to hang me. He was a younger guy, thankfully. Younger Asian dude that was super cool,
Probably smoked weed.
Yeah, I'm sure, probably. He's probably smoking the weed that I brought.
right now.
Right,
yeah. I used to get rolled at weed in high school, and then like my uncle was a teacher, so now I see my uncle, and then like my high school teachers will be over at the house sometimes, and I'll be like, "Yo, Mr. Beal, like, what'd you do with that weed?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, we smoked it, Yeah,
so like, funny.
They're like,
awesome.
Like snatching our weed and going home and blazing it.
Oh man, that's awesome. That was cool that he was truthful about it later.
Yeah, he was truthful, but I'm an adult now, so
yeah, that's cool though.
Yeah, the games definitely changed. I wonder if they pulled you over there because you got rolled like up near Boomtown on the border.
Yeah.
And I know that ATF will pull people coming from Cabela's right there.
Right. Well, this was a task force. I found that out. It was a task force for Washoe County Sheriff Task Force.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I don't know if it was just he got lucky in a hunch. He pulled me over because my RV swayed. So in court, they didn't pull me over.
Oh, your RV swayed.
Swayed. It didn't cross the line. It wasn't breaking the speed limit.
You show me one that doesn't sway, dude.
In Washoe County.
It's so windy.
The wind is like ripping, dude. And you're in this wall driving down the road, right? Yeah. And I'm in an older RV too. It's like a 2000. So the suspension's a little worn, what I mean? And that road has a lot of dips. But it was a task force. They were ready. They came with dogs. They came with drills and cameras. They
knew what's up.
They came. They pulled me out. They put me in cuffs.
They know when harvest time
I honestly think, though, they were hoping for more. They seemed kind of disappointed at the end of it all, kind of knowing maybe that it wasn't going to be much.
100 pounds ain't much anymore.
No, dude. And what's crazy, though, in Nevada right now, the charge for trafficking 51 to 1,000 is all the same charge. If you go above 51, it doesn't matter if you had 1,000. It's all the same Class C felony trafficking charge,
dude.
Which is crazy. But at the same time, I think that's why my charge was able to get dropped to such a lower charge, is because it's such a
big window.
Huge window of what a violation is.
Yeah.
It ended up being conspiracy to traffic an ounce or more. But it's like when you say that, people are gonna think an ounce to a pound.
That's cool.
You know what I mean?
Whatever.
Yeah. And they didn't hit me with like any overstate line stuff. They didn't take any of my rights. They really did, as far as the marijuana or the cannabis legal system stuff goes, it seems like it's getting to where it should be. Mm-hmm. But there's still a lot of people in prison that need to be let out of prison for simple marijuana charges. You know what I mean? That's fact. But it seems like they're taking it easier. Well, around here, I can't speak for like Mideast or back east anywhere.
So you're going to hire a driver now?
Fuck no. I'm done with that shit, bro.
That a boy,
Over
man.
it, bro.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you only get so many.
That was my Wonka golden ticket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I understand. And that also let me know, like, maybe not everybody's on my team that I'm around.
Oh, you
it kind of felt like that. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Even the jailhouse lawyer kind of told me they were waiting on me to come down that pass, and they were already kind of chit-chatting about me and, what I look like. And so it definitely came to, but because it was a tip-off and not a confidential informant, they don't have to involve any paperwork or anything like that from what I was told by my lawyer.
Huh.
Because I did ask him about it. He's like, there's no CI, but I can't say there wasn't a tip-off. But there's nothing behind that, other than...
What are you going to do? Find who snitched, dude? That's
that's like... Right when it happened, I let it go. Like I was talking about earlier. Just like in life, when you have to let go of these stressors of worrying about where you're going in life and what might happen, and you're creating all these fake movies in your head.
Yeah.
Right when I got arrested, I went to jail. I was in that moment. I was in jail. I was in my head thinking about what I'm going to do to keep progressing, to never stop no matter what. That's the way I feel enjoyment all the time, is by being relentless. You know what I mean? Like having issues that people don't know about and still being relentless, and understanding pain on a deeper level because of that.
Yeah.
And using that, you know what I mean? Like using that for fuel to be that way. Not just doing it for fun or, to think you're a badass, but using something, directing it the right way.
Yeah.
And not being self-conscious about it. That's a lot of people's issues.
Yeah, it's kind of like you live life, and I kind of feel like I do the same way. Like I live life and I love on people unconditionally, and until they ask why.
Yeah.
Like why?
They think it's weird.
Yeah, they think it's weird. Like I worked at this high school for like 6 months.
Yeah.
Didn't tell none of it was a continuation school. I didn't tell none of the kids my background at all, zero. Yeah. And they were all right, like they were cool. And then 6 months in, I sat down and shared my story to a high school full of kids. And they all came up to me like, "Oh shit, we just thought you were just some dude who had, just free time, And then once I shared like, "Yo, this is blah blah blah. I came from here," that it was like, dude, they just flocked to me. You know what I mean? And they just like, I loved on them unconditionally, and then I told them why. And when I showed them my why, that was what was like the catalyst.
Right, and that's why it's so important to get to know people, is because we all judge a book by its cover. Like you said, you thought I was like some hard, badass, mean dude. Maybe you
I think you still might be.
Yeah, I am. I can be when needed. That's the thing. Control of choices.
You got that dog, and you still.
For
it's
sure.
nice to know you can still go there.
That dog is way stronger than it would ever been, because I control my. Any decision I make is going to be well worth the decision I make. And that's where it's separated from people.
It's conscious decision.
It's 100% knowing that if I make a decision, I'm willing to live with the response, with whatever happens behind it. And I know I'm in control of that. And that's where I gain control of my thoughts and my emotions and even those physical reactions that you talk about with adrenaline.
Yeah.
And I had to control every fucking choice I made, and then delve into positivity a lot, and also calmness a lot. Don't just try to be positive all the time and hammer positive when you're negative. If you're getting negative, just try to get back to calm. Just try to get back to back to ground zero. You don't got to be Mr. Happy all of a sudden.
How do you get back to calm when you're fired up? You got a cheat code?
There's no cheat code past the work, bro. There's really not. But obviously meditating is a state of just sitting and letting your thoughts flow through you. It's not a state of quietness.
I know.
Meditating is so loud if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
But you're just focusing on not breaking and moving and letting those things fly and being okay. And then eventually it goes away. And people think, or ice bath, bro. Like, that's a huge one. Yeah. Jump in ice water for a couple minutes and then see those thoughts after that, and like put yourself in a situation that's real, because most of our suffering is fake and made up by our future thoughts that probably won't happen.
Dude, I love that.
No, it's that's all it is, bro. And I've learned that through experience. I used to lay in bed and drive myself into a hole for no reason, bro. Yeah. All the time, to a point where I was just anxiety fueled wreck.
Dude, when my kids were born, my son turned 5 months old. And I had everything I ever dreamed of, dude. I have a beautiful wife. I own a business. I got a property. I got land. I got the nice car, like everything on the outside you would think like, dude, I got it.
Right.
Dream come true. I made it.
Right.
Bro, I was a fucking wreck because my subconscious was just letting me have it all day long, dude. And I was like ready to swallow a bullet. I'm like, the only way out of this is death. Yeah. I called my dad. I was like, yo, what was your childhood like? What were your parents like? And he's like, oh, they were great. you know, so then I started to think I was crazy, you know, because, you know, my mom died from domestic violence when I was 5 months old. My dad beat her up, and she didn't survive that.
Terrible.
And I grew up in a life of turmoil. So I thought, this is what I have coming. It's hereditary.
Right.
Dude, I couldn't have been more wrong. Right. It was just generational trauma that needed to be broke.
And you're smashing that.
And I'm smashed. I smashed it, dude. Like I did some certain therapies that worked, and got into my subconscious and really worked on the, like, shining a light in the darkest areas of my life.
And letting it
go. And then just realized, like, dude, all that shit it was very real.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was very fake because it wasn't in the natural world. It was just all in my head.
Right.
You're living in the past.
Right. Your imagination is harboring what your past has taught you, and it's all fake.
Dude,
you went through it. You did.
Yeah, it was
and
nuts.
You experienced. You learned from it, though. Yeah. Now you get to use those superpowers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You get to display an extra amount of love because you understand the opposite. You've seen the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what's beautiful about people. Like you right now, you're doing work. You're working on that same process, just at a higher level.
Yeah, you know? Exactly. And this is just to spread light on, like. Yeah. Like, I shouldn't be here, you know what I mean? Right. Like, statistically, I should be dead in prison.
Right.
All of it, you know, dead in prison. You know what I mean? And I had mentors, for one, that I listened to. And that's the big thing, because a lot of people have mentors and they just don't listen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, like,
wisdom is just passed down through older people that have the knowledge. If you don't listen to those types of people, you're going to be dumb.
Yeah. Even younger people. I learn a lot from people much younger than me. You know?
For sure, that too. Absolutely. Definitely.
Maybe not so much about life experience and shit, but, you know, business, general knowledge, fitness, health, all that sort of stuff, you know. But it was like, it came to a turning point where I was like, you know, I was like in this this self-deprivating, like, fucking hole of just like comparing my beautiful life that I created to my shitty childhood.
Right.
It was so whack, dude. My wife would be like, oh, look how important it is for us all to eat dinner together at the table.
Mm-hmm.
And I created that table. I pay for this house. I built everything around me. And I would go into this like, oh, I never had that. You know, I never got to sit and eat with my mom and dad. And in my head, I'm just like feeling sorry for myself about like this life that I created. It was so backwards, bro. And then it just took like a you know, one psychedelic journey and a whole bunch of therapy.
And the gratitude was there.
And the gratitude was there, and I was like embracing all the fuckery in my life. It was like open
What's
arms.
to come in the day? Like, you know, like who's to say you were miserable that night before at the dinner table and maybe an argument happened or something, and your wife maybe passed away that night.
Yeah.
And you weren't to know that, but it happens to people all the time, dude. People pass away. I had a friend, a friend of a friend. I've met him a few times, hung out a few times. Great guy, 45 years old, randomly passed away from a heart attack. You know, could you imagine if your last moments with your family, or the last time your wife talked to you, you were arguing because you decided to go off your past trauma?
Yeah.
Like, we have to give ourselves comparison. It's the thing about weighing out. Before you make a decision about being angry or being violent or doing something stupid, weigh everything out. Even if someone's talking to you and asks you a question, take 5, 10, 20 seconds if you need to.
Yeah.
And think about what you're going to say. You know, don't just react, because a lot of us are compulsive.
But you got to react.
You have to.
You have to react. But you can't, you know, a lot of people just
don't go into silent mode.
Just go blank. And I struggle with that too. It's like when conflict arises in my house sometimes between my wife and I, which naturally it will, I'll sometimes just like freeze up.
Right.
You know, where I'm like, you know, I don't, it's not that I don't want to speak. It's that
you don't want it to get any worse. Maybe.
I don't want it to get any worse.
You don't want to offend her anymore.
Yeah, it's like weird. I don't even know. Like I can't, but I'm working on that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Even if it's just saying something small, like I hear you. You know, like just that, rather than just sitting there silent.
I've been married and divorced and I've had a lot of long-term relationships.
You got kids?
No kids. My first relationship from 16 to 26 was 10 years. You know, it was just, we grew apart. Yeah. She was more into like other, you know, unhealthy things and all that, and I was going my other way. And then I got married for 4 years, and that went good. And, you know, then financial stressors and decisions, and she was also from a different country, and our culture kind of thing didn't line up. But,
where was she from?
She was from France, from Paris.
Okay.
I still love her. She's awesome. She's a cool person, you know. Where was I going with that?
Brain fart. You grew apart. You just said you grew apart.
Yeah. No, I was growing apart with her, but I was going somewhere with that whole thing. Yeah, brain farted. But yeah, so it was Celine, and then Where's that going?
Too many women, man.
No, it's long-term relationships.
Yeah.
But I wasn't learning to love myself enough during those.
Yeah.
You know, I was so focused on pleasing them and like trying to make sure that they were happy, and like instead of standing where I thought choices should be made, I would like bend a lot, you know, and things like that. And sometimes that can be too detrimental depending on what it is, you know, and you start neglecting yourself in order to make this relationship work.
Yeah.
Can't be in relationships like that.
And then so many people just go into a rebound. Like they'll get out of a relationship where they need to work on themselves, but like they need to fill that void with like the
validation.
With validation, like the next piece of ass or whatever it is.
When you start doing more work and you start going to the gym and you start doing better to yourself, and like I said earlier, love yourself like you're madly in love with yourself.
You don't need nobody else.
Your presence is a gift, and you start to realize that even with yourself, like being here and talking or going on a hike. The experience you're having is a gift. You know what I mean? It's like you're not, this is a very slim chance of everything in this universe being perfect for it to line up for us to be here right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like we need to think life on more of those values. Mm-hmm. Go back to that simple gratitude, those things that are what truly brings happiness, and like how lucky you really are.
Yeah.
So many people don't understand how lucky they truly fucking are just to breathe air.
Dude, for real.
You know what I mean?
Have
and
clean water.
Yeah, and it might sound corny to some people, but that's just because they're that disconnected. You know, they're that disconnected from what's real, what it's about to be here and experience this and enjoyment and feeling things, not just constantly focused on suffering and what's bad in the world. And like, they're shoving that shit down our throats, whether you like it or not. Why pay attention to it? You're going to hear about it anyways. You know, focus on yourself, and then that will reflect onto everyone you love.
Yeah, if you're not firing on all cylinders, how the hell are you
right? If people got to pick you up all the time, and they got to go to work, and they, you know what I mean? Like, you should strive to be a person people know they can go to and lean on, bro. And like, I love spreading myself thin for my friends. That's what I live for. I literally live to be with my friends, help my friends. That's the enjoyment I get. When I go out with friends or I get to help somebody move or something, I go home and I lay down and I'm so happy, I'm so thankful for that day that I pray I get another one like that.
Really?
You know what I mean? When I'm with my friends, you know what I mean? That's awesome. That's because of the feeling of helping them progress in life and everything else behind it.
Yeah.
And when I wake up the next morning, I thank God, bro. Whatever it may be, the universe or whatever creation is, every morning I wake up, the first things out of my mouth are thank you, God, for letting me have another one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I truly feel that from inside me, dude. Because it's like, I've lost a lot of fucking family and friends and shit, dude. And it's like, I had great parents, and I had no reason to fuck up. I chose to fuck up.
Yeah.
Straight up, dude.
Facts.
But a lot of my friends didn't make it. They got shot, they OD'd, my cousins, you know, shit like that, dude. And it's like, I still went through that. If not, it maybe even feels worse than what they actually went through, because I got to live through, like, losing those close ones like that, you know.
Sometimes you have to, you know, like it's a trip, man. I got 3 brothers and the 4 of us had never ever like had a meal together in our lives.
Wow.
My little brother just got out of prison in September, and I flew out to Maine when he got out. His mom had died, so we did a funeral, but I rented a house and we all got together, and for the first time in our entire lives, you know, I'm 38. The youngest 2 are 22 and 23, and then my brother Shane was 28 years old. And we hung out, we had a meal, we rented this house, we had so much fun, we laughed, awesome. We got to know each other, and he fucking died a week later of a fentanyl overdose.
Fuck, bro. I'm so sorry.
You know, but it's like you said, it's those ones that we lose that make us appreciate the days we have just like so much more. And like there's a lot of gratitude and a lot of relief with my brother's death, because he lived a painful life for 28 years. You know, he was born into trauma, lived in it. You know, he spent more time from 12 years old to 28 incarcerated than he did out on the street. You know, and so there was like this huge sense of relief. You know, a sense of failure, but also this sense of like gratitude for myself for not being that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
As
you
much as
you didn't put that burden on other people.
No.
You didn't make those choices.
I was a burden in a lot of other ways, but when it came time to like buck up, you know, like nobody's coming to fucking save Paul anymore.
There's no burden like someone slowly killing themselves, bro.
Yeah, it's tough, you know, it's tough, and you come to a certain point where like nobody's there for you anymore, and you either, you know, do the last dope deal that gets you in prison. Right. You stick the needle in your arm one time. You pull the trigger. You get into that last bang gunfight, you know, and game over. You know, I was lucky enough to just say, dude, I'm done with this lifestyle.
And that's what it takes. Is taking control. It's as simple. It's hard, but it's taking control of your choices. That's all it comes down to. I can't stress that enough.
Accountability is key.
Yeah.
You know, my wife said something the other day about like salt coating it, you know, not sugar coating shit and like salt coating it. Yeah, and that's kind of how I was raised. You know, my uncles, you know, when my mom died, she came from a big family. She had, you know, 4 brothers and 4 sisters. So right off the bat, with my grandparents and all her siblings, I got like 5 moms and 5 dads. The men, dude, were all hard. You know what I mean? Like they were hard dudes.
Straight up.
You know, it's a miracle my dad's even alive still, because they wanted to end this guy. But my mom's dying words were like, "Don't hurt him."
Okay.
So they honored that. You know what I mean? Yeah. But anyways, like they would always just shoot me straight, no matter how painful it was for me. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, I just remember being like, man, these guys are fucked up. They're cold. Yeah. But now as an adult, I'm like so thankful for those straight shooters, you know?
And you understand why they're that way.
Yeah.
Why they were. Like the trauma they may be seen, or the things the choices they made put them in situations where they end up and come out of prison. One of my really good friends has spent more life in prison than out, you know, for sure. And he's still become a productive human. He's doing great. He's got a kid now. He's been out for a few years. But the things you learn and go through in there, you know, you either make the best or the worst out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
You got to be the worst version of yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sometimes.
Dude, for real. Like you really do. Like, you know, it's like, it's kill or be killed sometimes. Yeah. It's piratism, for sure. You know? It's like.
Yeah, he's told me some stuff before, and it's just like, whoa, bro. The fact that you even lived through that and now you're a free man, you must feel born again. Like literally, you know. But
I got a friend who he just got out. He did a year in Texas, and like a weekend I talked to him on the phone, and he's like, yo, they just drowned somebody in the shower today.
Oh damn, yeah.
He's like, I just saw somebody get murdered.
Wow.
And nobody, so wild. You know what I mean? Like they drowned him in a couple inches of water in a shower.
Yeah.
Like you know, and he was there for like some drug charges or fraudulizing
at
checks
least a few times a year.
Yeah. So where are you at now? Like what's Shawn up to right now these days? You know, what's your next move?
I'm trying to get in on real estate and invest in the money that I do have. I'm making some moves with some property and stuff to sell to reinvest. And,
getting out of the pot game.
Getting out of the pot game for the most part. You know, I'll still grow weed to smoke and all that. But and just living more simple, bro. I'm kind of going off the grid. Just
that's what's up.
You know, kind of doing the van life kind of thing. Just I'm gonna take the summer at least and do it that way, and maybe buy another spot or something eventually. But right now, dude, I'm just, you know, downsizing, getting rid of a lot of stuff, keeping what's really important to me.
Yeah.
You know, and getting closer to family. I'm getting a lot closer to family up there. I have a lot of friends here, but I have no family in Grass Valley. You know?
Yeah. So what brought you to Grass Valley?
The weed game.
Yeah.
Well, my girlfriend's brother was living up here. I'd come up here and help him, and I loved it, bro.
Yeah,
I love growing weed. And I was already doing it in Sac, helping my uncle, but like it wasn't on this level, obviously, how they're doing up here, you know. And I loved working outside. I still do, bro. I'm still gonna, like I said, that's what I'll always do.
It's cool too, because we have a mutual friend who's kind of like a heavy hitter in the weed biz, and we still get to go over there and dabble our fingers and get my fix. You know, if I want to go work on some plants, it's always an opportunity here.
That's dope.
But ever since I had kids, I just like
See, I don't have kids. You know, it's a big passion of mine. Like I'd always be interested in doing something like that for sure. You know, but now I'm just taking it easy, doing my thing. I'm in no rush to do anything but live and enjoy my life and work on myself, because I know that's what it all boils down to. It's not about working for anybody else. It's not about, you know, having this glamorous career or whatever.
It's about being happy with you.
It's about being happy with me and being able to just be with me and know that's all I, you know, like I love other people, but also when you can't just find joy for no reason if you don't know how to be by yourself.
Yeah.
That's one thing you got to know how to do, and be in that present. You have to be in that present moment so strongly that nothing else exists. That's what that is. You know? And that to me is proof of heaven here on earth. Honestly, is when you can feel that feeling for no reason. That's signs that either heaven exists somewhere, some sort of heaven, or this is it. And we're just not tuning in strongly enough to the feeling of being here and not being grateful enough for being here. You know what I mean? Like. I think we're supposed to be connected to the earth stronger. We're supposed to be connected spiritually stronger, to the stars stronger. And there's a void there now between us and that, you know.
And even just like human beings in general.
Oh,
like, dude, like.
Yeah, well, what's crazy about human beings, bro, the population went from like 1 billion in 1970 to almost, like 8.5 billion
I don't even know.
in 50, 60 years. So in a way, it was like I don't even know how it's happened. There's just been this influx of humans that's exploded, but there's also been this huge divide.
You know, I was talking to Mike Segezi, and we were having a conversation just about how fucked the world is, you know? And I'm like, you know, things ain't getting better, Mike. He said, Paul, you know, there's more love in the world now than there ever has been before.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you really believe that? Or you just tell yourself that because it sounds cute, you know? And he's like, I really believe it. And I really got to thinking about it. And just number-wise, it's a fact. There's more love now in the world than there ever has been.
At sheer children.
Yeah.
Children alone are full of just love. They're born that way.
Yeah.
You don't have nothing but joy, love, and enthusiasm as a child.
But you can fuck them up really quick.
Oh, it's so easy.
You know?
It's so, because they're so malleable, and that's what's so beautiful, but also so, you know, scary about a kid.
I know some young kids, 5, 6 years old, that are hateful. Just because they've been around so much heavy trauma, and they're like, maybe not hateful, that's probably a strong word, but like, they're jaded in a way that they shouldn't be as a young boy.
For sure,
or a girl,
100%.
You know?
We are our surroundings. If they're sitting there and mom and dad are arguing and Maury Povich is on the TV blasting and or dad's fucking rocking Slipknot 24/7 and the kids in the back seat, or maybe not even beating on mom, just showing sheer aggression and yelling. Because don't get it wrong, verbal sounds and noises to kids are probably scarier than the initial signs of violence.
Dude, that's so funny you say that, bro. Like,
I remember that as a child.
Dude, something happened with my son the other day. He slammed the door in the bedroom, just being a kid, you know, slammed the door, but the smoke alarm went off.
Yeah, dude.
And it was going, fire, fire,
fire.
Shit.
Startled this.
Dude, it was terror.
Yeah.
It was pure terror, dude. And he opened the door and I saw this terror in my son's eyes that I had never seen before.
Right, dude.
And it fucking broke me, dude. I was like, oh my God, this kid's terrified.
We're so sensitive.
Bro, I went into dad mode. And I don't even know where I came up with this, and I just feel like a G for it. But I was like, "Bro, this is a fire drill. This is what we do." And I swooped him up.
You turned it around.
I swooped him up and grabbed him in my arms, and I was like, "I got his sister," and we ran out of the house, and I just made it a learning lesson.
That's what he needed, bro.
It's what he needed. He learned that this isn't something to be scared of. This is something that is to protect us. And it was
I'm going to protect you if I'm here. I'm going to do this. And that's what you did for him in that moment.
But I saw terror in his eyes for the first time, and I was like, I will never be the person to put that look on my son's face ever.
That's what people don't get about yelling and loud noises and slamming shit. And when there's little kids around, you know, exposure to little kids is a lot different than us.
And we argue. My wife and I argue. We're human. And my son at 3 will tell us, stop it. Stop talking. Yeah. Or I'll be like, I'll say fuck or whatever. Yeah. He'll be like, Dad, don't say fuck.
Yeah.
And
he's already intelligent.
He's smart. He's super smart. He's 3 years old. And he's already checking me on my shit. Right. The other day, not to get off on my kid, but
talk about your kid.
Dude, we were sitting at the dinner table and he's having a moment, bro, like melting down moment. Totally just.
What's he upset about?
He's just upset about. I don't even know, dude. He just gets in his shit. He's just like 3-year-old. He's pissed. But I saw he stops and he's doing this.
Oh no, he's doing his Wim Hof.
Dude just starts doing like little box breathing, little breath work. Unprovoked on his own. And I was like, yo, Bodie, that's amazing, dude. I'm so proud of you for doing that.
Reinforcing those actions, bro.
Oh, it backfired on me. He just immediately went back to his meltdown.
Did he?
As soon as I recognized it, he was like, I'm mad again. But it was like, we listen to meditations every night at bedtime. And it was just like, he didn't even have to think about it. It was natural.
Right.
It just came to him.
That's what we are. We're compulsive beings, dude.
Yeah.
Like, if our patterns are negative in compulsive ways and they're negative with drugs and addiction, they got to be directed positively because we're all compulsive. Like, that's why I go to the gym 6-7 days a week. It's because I'm sitting there, even if I don't feel like
going. I see you in the snow outside doing pull-ups in they got like a prison yard workout at the gym, and that's where this fool's at. I never see you inside.
I love the challenge of the cold bars and water and like getting a little wet and like coming up with different workouts because it's cold outside and getting warmed up out there and breaking a sweat outside. Yeah. Like, it's that extra mile that makes me feel that much better about the workout. And also you're outside and like things are just different, you know? I'm obsessed with being outside. Like if I could sleep outside without being bit up by mosquitoes, I would.
Dude, it's tough this year. What I mean? Mosquitoes are gnarly, man.
Like I love just the exposure to nature and things, and I think that's huge with mental health, is getting back in nature and unwinding those knots in your mind that have been building up for years and years, and you're focused on them, and then become who you are, and that's not who you are. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're here to evolve and become a new person all the time, and to show people. Like, dude, this guy keeps getting better, and like he's proving that, even because no matter who you are, your life's not going to go perfectly. You're going to have setbacks, you're going to have ailments, you're going to get sick, family members are going to get sick, you're going to go through trauma. Yeah. Who are you going to be through all that? Yeah. Who are you going to be for everyone during all that? You know what I mean? Exactly. Like that's what's important for humanity, and like for this type of society to change around. If it's like, you know, when heavy addiction and things are rampant. Drugs are cheaper than ever, and they're more powerful than ever.
What is rampant is mental health.
Oh, yeah,
and trauma. Like, if you look at, like, probably over 90% of drug addicts right now, especially with opiates and stuff, is unprocessed childhood trauma. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Like across the board. You line up 100 people who are strung out, maybe one of them is like, I just want to get high. Yeah. Usually they're numbing 100% something out. And, like, when your legs are broken, you use crutches. Yep. These people are broken human beings, and that's their crutch. You know what I mean? And they're no different than me or you, other than the choices that we make.
Right, and they're just not provided with the correct knowledge either. A lot of it's not being done correctly. They're trying to get these people jobs and stuff. I get that. Or
just enabling their
you're shit. Enabling their things, but it's like you got to teach them how to deal with what's going on in their head, because that's where it all starts. In their mind.
Everybody needs psychedelics.
You got to get to the roots. No, seriously. I mean, seriously. Like if you don't have an extreme gratitude for life every single day, you need to do some mushrooms and feel like you're on the brink of death, maybe, to bring your ass back to reality, to realize how fucking lucky you are to experience. This is all a trip. This is all a fucking imagination. Like, this is all made by us in our heads. Yeah. And, like, you know what I mean? Think about it. It's so trippy that to even think that you have to get high, you're just not connected enough.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see on like a clock or like a scale when we die, like how much of what went on in our life was actually reality versus what was just played out in our head. Right, 100%. And it's probably like such a small fraction.
Most of our energy is going to the shit playing out in our fucking heads.
Yeah, being wasted.
Being wasted, bro.
Dude, I love it.
100%, dude.
You're so rad, bro. I'm so stoked. Yeah. So, like, do you got one thing to say to change the world right now? Like, what is it?
To change the world, I don't know, man.
Just change one person. How about that? Just one motherfucker out there.
Take control of your actions, man. Like, really take control of your choices and what you do with your daily habits. Go back to the basics. Don't make it hard, and be easy on yourself. When you mess up, you make a mistake, be easy on yourself. Be accountable, but tell yourself you're sorry. Tell yourself you're not gonna treat yourself that way no more, and mean it. And that's how you get things to stick. Talk to yourself, like I said, like you really are madly in love with yourself, and you want the best things in the world for yourself, and no other way. You can't always be positive, but just try to remain in a state of calmness, no matter what. That's what's important. Dude, that's everything, bro.
We can end
That's
on
the epitome.
I love it, bro.
I love it, bro.
Dude, thank you, bro. Yeah, that was amazing.
Hell yeah, man. We crushed it.
Dude, just a conversation between two dudes.
Yeah, man.